Good evening, and welcome to the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station. I'm your host, Roman. We have a great show planned for you today, but first, the forecast from our IntellectualRadio.com Weather Center. Today, low clouds, fog breaking, high 44 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear, low 36 degrees. Tomorrow night, partly sunny, high 49 degrees. And let's switch that. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high 49 degrees. Tomorrow night, considerable cloudiness with a couple of showers late, low 45 degrees. Wednesday, occasional rain in the morning. Otherwise, mostly sunny, mostly cloudy, rather. High 54 degrees. On Thursday, chilly with clouds and sun, high 45 degrees. And on Friday, cloudy, a little rain, breezy, high 52 degrees. The Drive at 5 is also part of the Monday Night Mogul with the new lineup starting at 4 o'clock. Chocolate for the Soul with Ramona. Policy Matters at 6 p.m. New Black Leadership at 7 p.m. Black Community Unity at 8 p.m. 9 p.m. Chronicles of Rom, and the Mic Up at 10 p.m. You know why they call it the Mic Up? Because her mic is always up. The Drive at 5 is also part of the fabulous 5 at 5, only on IntellectualRadio.com. Tonight, my guest is the founder for Chicago Black Women in Tech. They will have a free networking opportunity event as well as resume building session. Please give a Drive at 5 welcome to founder Tasha Adi. There you go. Welcome to the Drive.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Please give IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station your background.
Yeah, so I'm an engineer originally from Florida. My first job out of school, I just worked for NASA as a simulations engineer, and then to move to the private sector, and I came up to Chicago, this wonderful city, and worked for GE Healthcare for a little bit of time. At a certain point, I decided to take a step back from corporate America and just kind of take like a break. And during that time, a passion or pet project of mine, Chicago Black Women in Tech, I just kind of got wrapped up in the enthusiasm of it. And here I am today. It's my full-time job, and I love it.
It shows the passion of it as well. Please explain the inspiration this event involving Black women in technology.
So for the particular event, I try to think of things that I could have utilized when I was working. So, just having somebody other than a family member or a friend looking over my resume who may be a decision maker, maybe not for the job that I'm applying for, but they have some insight because they see the resumes all the time. I would also appreciate an affordable headshot, not necessarily one from Target or Sears. I'm sure they do a great job. And then I'd also like the opportunity just to network with people who are like me. So I thought that this would be a great event for professionals or people trying to get into the workforce or changing over careers into technology.
Why is there a need for a headshot when you're applying for a job?
In this digital age, you want to make sure that your professional brand and your image kind of matches with what you're trying to convey to the employer. So you may want an updated photo for your LinkedIn that's clear, has been digitally retouched, just good lighting, and puts your best foot forward.
And everyone to have a headshot?
No, I think people can decide for themselves if the headshot would be useful. But for people that would like an affordable option and a good quality photo, we're offering that at our event.
Does it depend on the job? Depends on the job that you're getting in corporate America?
I don't think so. I mean, well, actually, maybe if you're in marketing or public relations or a creative field, that I think it would matter more, the image that you convey. Good practice for everyone, no matter what job you're going for, to have a good image. Maybe not like a personal or like a selfie as your professional image. I know employers do sometimes do like a little background research on social media for people before they hire them sometimes.
And you mentioned selfie. Actually, people as a headshot, they post selfies. Is that a no-no?
I would say you can take good pictures with selfies, but more often than not, it's probably not appropriate for a professional presentation. Something that you don't want, your bathroom in the background, or you don't want poor lighting, or you don't want unprofessional dress, or maybe like weird facial expression. So it's probably
like
good.
The duck lips?
Yeah, no duck lips. So it's probably good to get a professional photo.
Have people submitted selfies with a background with the bathroom backdrop?
I mean, you can see pictures from people's vacations on LinkedIn. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just if you'd like one, we're offering that.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned basically look at your Facebook page,
mm-hmm.
or try to like Google you and see on LinkedIn, see what you're all about before they hire you.
Right.
What you recommend to people about posting their, let's say I have a personal page, but you also have a professional page, and sometimes they're intertwined with each other. What would you say to those people who like, okay, 1 minute I want to be taken seriously, but I have a fun side to me as well? How, if you're hiring someone
mm-hmm.
and you're like, I'm business, I'm corporate, I'm, straight down, I'm a mentor, this, that, and the other, and the next minute, why all men are such and such, such and such, and or like lips or the pose or
Yeah, well, I mean, just good judgment. I think you don't have to be a complete robot. Like it's okay to show your fun side to your employer. If you think that there may be an issue, you can always review your current employers or maybe a prospective employer's like policy on social media to see what's appropriate. And then you can also just use like the security features to kind of reduce the scope, or like who can see what you're posting. But yeah, just kind of taking it case by case, and like a little common sense goes a long way in that situation.
Technology is a heavy white male industry.
Mm-hmm.
How you agreeing to that, okay?
Yeah.
However, Blacks are making strides, including Black women. How can Black women overcome a white male industry with, it's so hard, but we're making strides? What you say to that?
Yeah, I would say, so my personal opinion on that is we probably need our own organization that would advocate for us on our behalf. I think that it's good.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on the group?
Yeah, so like if you are experiencing some sort of hostile workplace or sexual harassment, or you just have you need a mentor or an advocate or a sponsor to help you kind of on your career path, it would be good if you had those resources. It could also be provided by an organization. So I think that a lot of women do make men included into our careers to get further. But I think the next step is not to try and overcome systemic biases or prejudices individually, but to overcome it with another institution.
Such as, can you give an example?
I'm trying to design Chicago Black Women in Tech to be that institution that answers only to its members, and our initiatives would be a reflection of our members' needs, and that issues, instead of an individual either martyring themselves or putting their neck out to say something, an institution can speak on their behalf.
Church for you come on the show, and they have, including a branch off of IntellectualRadio.com, it's called Black Products, or Blacks products, or we support Black products. Are you talking about in that realm of supporting Black by Black only, supporting the tech industry, instead of going through third parties or something like that, like showcase Black technical products that so forth and so on?
I'm more talking about an organization that will, for lack of better words, have an individual's back. Because as a woman myself, the experiences that I've had, you can do a lot of things right, but sometimes you need somebody who has more authority to stick up for you. So not necessarily with the commerce of just buying Black. That could be an aspect of it, but it's more focusing on being an advocate for individuals, marginalized people, specifically, in this case, Black women, so that they can have access to opportunities, protection, and an advocate throughout their career.
Hollywood, as you can see, like the actors, including Tom Hanks. A lot of people are surprised got involved in the allegation, even though he denied or not have commented or say he did or did not. Directors, writers, producers in Hollywood have been accused of sexual harassment, or from funneling women to including masturbation, even comedians. Now, you're talking about having for Black women. Have you found that African American women is going through the same issues as people coming out with these allegations against Hollywood elites?
I can't really speak for all Black women just because I'm a Black woman, because even though, we, share a gender and an ethnicity and a race, we're very different, as you know, as different as we are in appearance. So I can't really say, but I do know, or it's my opinion, that the issues that we're seeing in the news lately, as far as like sexual harassment or misconduct goes, is pervasive no matter what industry you're in. So it's not really just in the entertainment industry. You could be a lawyer, you could be a nurse. It's across the board an issue.
So you want to provide that type of outlet, like a sounding board, so to speak, platform that you want to create?
Yeah, that's one part of it. The other part is we want to do a deep dive into technical education. We want to make sure that whatever education opportunities we provide are members learning, and that they feel comfortable. There's no condescension. If you've never done object-oriented programming before, we're supportive, and we encourage your development. So that may not be the case in other educational environments.
Why now? Why you feel this is the time, this is the place for Black women in tech to make a move in comparison to a year ago?
So I personally decided to start this year, but it has always been needed. So the time was actually it was a long time ago that this was needed. But I would say that it definitely needs to happen, because I don't see the conversation or like the national dialogue on diversity in tech like really making the impact that it wants to make. These organizations put a lot of money and a lot of goodwill and time and energy, but I don't think we've ever thought to put the person that's marginalized and the person that we're trying to help not only get their opinion, but have them lead the conversation and have their own seat at the table. One way of doing that is to provide them with an institution that reflects their concerns and interests.
You said the word marginalized. Can you elaborate a little bit about being marginalized as an African American woman? Do you feel like African Americans, when it comes to certain positions in the tech world? I mean, earlier I asked about a heavy white male industry. Do you feel like that African American women are being shut out towards the tech world?
I think that there are successful Black women. I think that we can do anything that we put our minds to. I think that of us, we may have to overcome stereotypes or biases when we're trying to negotiate our salaries, apply for a position, explain our credentials. And these kind of have impacts down the line. So you could have the same education, you could have comparable or better work experience, but because someone just doesn't see you as techie or as the tech type, it could have an impact on, like your retirement account down the line, or your career progression. So yes, I do think that, you can be marginalized if you're in a organization that doesn't know how to value diversity properly.
So do you consider yourself as a champion, so to speak, of diversifying the tech industry?
Definitely, yes.
In what way?
So I just want to be able to have real conversations, or really just bring our point of view to the conversation. We keep talking about, unconscious bias, but I don't really hear a lot of people talking about the conscious bias that you deal with.
Give me an example of the conscious bias.
Just, people saying things like, we don't want this organization to change, or, just people that we talk a lot about people that but there are people who are actively against including diversity or see it as lowering the bar for their organization, when really that's not the case.
What is so unique about this event that you're having coming up in comparison to other networking and community building events? What's so unique about it?
Well, I mean, as far as I can see, it's one of the few, if not only, organizations specifically for Black women that are trying to practice collectivism, trying to bring women together and empower them. So it's not really just about the pictures or the resume critique. I think those are great, or the free food or the socializing, but you can be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. So I think that's the real special part about the event.
You mentioned free food.
Yeah, and wine and beer. So
when we come back on IntellectualRadio.com, the Drive at 5, we'll have more with Tasha, the founder of Black Women in Tech, coming up next on the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com. And we're back on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station. The Drive at 5 continues. My guest to my left is the founder of Black Women in Tech, Tasha Adi, right?
Yes.
Okay, see, I got it right. Now, what made you come up with the name Black Women in Tech?
It's easy to understand. It's aptly named Chicago Black Women in Tech, so.
Yeah? That was it?
Pretty much. Pretty straightforward.
I'm in Chicago.
Descriptive.
I'm a Black woman.
Geographic. Yep.
Yeah. Ushering Black women to tech. So
Yes.
just do it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go into the numbers, so to speak. When you look at Black women in tech, you see social media,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook Live, which we're on now, Google, YouTube, Instagram. You see a variety of people, especially African American women, breaking into this social media world. How they can transfer, and some Black women are very successful at blogging. How they can transfer social media that's a free media outlet, like let's say blogging, and make money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that?
I mean, you can have businesses that develop technology, or you can have businesses that are driven by technology. So if they have great skills in social media and blogging, generating content, that's really important to have in almost any business. So they could use technology to drive a business. So I think that would be an easy kind of segue into being into a tech-driven business.
So what content that you would recommend?
I think if it's tech-driven, I think the content is wide open. They can do, whatever speaks to their audience and whatever is they're passionate about. They could speak to something that, really is
Celebrity dirt.
Hey, that's
I
been
know
working
plenty
for
of
a lot
dirt
of people.
on Earl Winfrey.
I don't even know who that is.
But I mean, celebrity dirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Wendy Williams claimed the fame.
Mm-hmm.
What other niche that you would recommend someone that's listening to the program that say, I'm a techie, I know how to, one thing I know about women
Mm-hmm.
that they're very good at than men, it's texting. You cannot argue with a woman on a text. So my thing is, you're saying content. What kind of content besides, you're saying it involves what your passion, what is within.
Mm-hmm.
But besides celebrities, what would you recommend? Like somebody is not talking about something, like been there, done that, but what would you recommend?
I would like to see more people show the creative side of technology. So I think a lot of people have this perspective that tech is just this boring thing. You sit in front of a computer by yourself and you're just typing away. But really, you can look at it as these are your tools, these are your means to an end. And it's not really about the tools, it's about your imagination. And that's the limit of what you can create with technology. You can do anything from, automating your house to making wearable clothes that, wearable technology that lights up, or you can take embedded systems and create, your own hardware, or you can create software for a variety of different things. So I think focusing on the creative side and like really getting people to see it as an art almost would be good content to read.
What are some of the features that will assist a Black woman in the tech industry?
Courage, because whenever you're trying something new, even if you have somebody there are going to be times when you just don't get it, or you don't get the answer, or you're scared to, or you're not sure if you can do it. You just have to have the courage to push through and move up the learning curve. Also, just having tenacity to keep going for it, even if people tell you no. I think that's really important to have.
Let's dive into that. Let's say you personally, have someone said, I'm not feeling that. Some of your friends probably said it. Maybe your loved one said it. How would you say, you know what, I don't give a you know what about what I'm pressing on. Were you down at first when you say, I have this brilliant idea, and then they nah, it would never fly?
I mean, you take what the person's saying and you evaluate and you see if it makes sense, and you logically, measure what you're trying to do and see if it can stand up to, I guess, the market if you're trying to make a product. If you have the resources to create it. I think just weigh what they're saying, because it could be that they're right, but it could also be that they're wrong, and you're going to do great. But I was more talking about in education, when people may discourage you from pursuing technical education because they see you more in a liberal arts or creative. Not to say there's anything wrong with those things, but they may steer you into a specific career path just because of their perspective or perception of you.
Describe the resume concept to us and why Black women should kind of focus on the resume building and the opportunity. Other would say, my resume is up to par.
I mean,
why should I go for this? In other words, in essence, that African American women is viewed in a higher standard when it comes to resumes than it is with any other ethnicity.
I can't really say because I'm not a hiring manager, if they have higher standards. I do know, with ethnic names such as my own, Tosha Adi, the same credentials on the resume with less ethnic sounding name will get a different rate of response. So I think it's really important just to make sure, even if you think that your resume is up to par, it doesn't hurt to get a second opinion. And then, you can see if what you're trying to convey through the resume and your cover letter is actually doing what you intended. So there's no harm in a second opinion.
When it comes to resumes, a lot of people say you can't go into that office or apply without having a single page. Not two, not three, but nowadays, people are a mini booklet of their experience, what would you say to the people who's like, you're only supposed to have one page?
I mean, put yourself in the shoes of the person who has to read a whole bunch of those all day. And I mean, your goal is to get noticed in that stack. And if you have 3 or 4 pages and they're, flying around, and one's missing, do you think you're going to get the job? So you have experience and a lot of information to share, but I think it's your job to condense it down and let your communication talent or your ability to communicate shine through, and use concise language to share the salient points of your experience in one page. That would be my recommendation. But again, I'm not a hiring manager, so.
Okay. You mentioned the goal changing method for Black women who have challenges in their careers. Describe the challenges of a professional Black woman face throughout her career.
So, I mean, again, I just want to reiterate, I can't speak for all Black women because I just have my experiences to go off of.
What is your experience? Maybe people on IntellectualRadio.com can relate.
So hairstyles is a big one. How do you present yourself in the office and still be seen as professional, not coming off as like aggressive, or being able to assert yourself without having any like negative backlash, having credibility. So if you want to present, or you say that you know something, maybe having to prove, try a little harder to prove that you do know what you're talking about. Getting mentors is very important. So if you look at any successful person, have some sort of a network that supports them, whether it's a pat on the back after a rough day, or somebody who, when you leave the room, they're vouching for you and they're saying, I think this person should be on that project. Projects are extremely important for your career progression, so you're going to need somebody to vouch for you to get on those projects, but people are not going to, they're generally going to gravitate towards people that either remind them of themselves or they see potential in. And so any bias or bias that they could impact their decision to mentor you, and that has an impact on the projects and like your career progression. So those are just a few of the things that you could deal with.
You mentioned hairstyles, especially African Americans. There was one incident that an African American was hired, and they said, you know what, you need to cut those dreadlocks, out.
Yeah.
Because our corporation, that's not going to fly. Say, this is my culture, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind working for you, but this is me, and it's either you accept me or I'm gone. So you mentioned hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
Have you received backlash from your hairstyle?
Not well. I mean, people might tease if I like wear an afro to the office or something, but
why?
I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why. Like, it could make people uncomfortable, or it's just not viewed as professional for some reason.
But why? I mean, and I'm sorry to grill you on this, but to get an understanding, why would someone? You're professional. Matter? Is it white? Is it other blacks that's doing this, or is it a mixture?
I would say it's a mixture. Let's just say it's a mixture.
but why would other blacks be like if you wear an afro, they're saying you're going to a Black Power convention, or are you representing Black Power Day or something like that?
I don't know. I don't really know what other people think. I get compliments as well, so it's not all negative. means like we should probably challenge like what's respectable or what's professional or what is beautiful, so that we can, show up to work who we as we are, instead of trying to always conform to what other people think we should be.
Is that one of the features that you will present in your platform, on your blog or on your website, about, okay, women's hair? What a lot of people say, a corporate woman her hair should be flat. Period. End of story. So forth and so on. Necessary.
I would like to have conversations like that kind of push of current assumptions or like social norms, for what is acceptable, and make sure that we're always thinking critically about some of the values that we have in and outside of work, so that we can kind of live a better life or find a better way of being. So, there's a lot of things that we could tackle in this organization, like that I'm trying to build, but I think that topic specifically isn't the focus, more the form for having those conversations, and having those conversations turn into something actionable that can actually help us.
Is what you said to me off air the good part? What is explain to us the event in its entirety. You talked about the wine, the food.
Yeah.
Besides the freeze, if I want to come, what should I expect?
You should expect to kind of mingle and engage with some of our community partners, so you can meet people from Innova. You will see a photo booth with Kikomo imagery, where you can take your headshot. We'll have food. We'll have some networking opportunities. So we'll kind of orchestrate interaction so that you at least leave meeting somebody new. We'll make sure that you're not sitting in the corner by yourself. So as long as you can come meet some people, get to know Chicago Black Women in Tech, what we're about, what we're trying to do, it will be a good use of your viewers' time.
If you want to hear my advice, because a lot of people don't want to hear it, a lot of times you go to networking events, people are unprepared. They don't bring their business cards. You're at a networking event. Of course they're going to ask you for a card. Of course they're going to ask you for a contact information. And I always say, if knowing you're going to these type of events, why you're not prepared?
Well, I mean, we say networking, but the real point is just to meet and connect with people. You can meet with people like on a social level, professional level. You forget your card, it's okay. Just write it down, any contact information, swap it over phones. But I think some people get turned off by using the term networking, or like it being completely formal. I think the point is to broaden your circle and get to know somebody who, may benefit you down the line. Or maybe they're just a great person to know. So
please give IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station where they can get a hold of you and the event information.
Yeah, so you can definitely reach out to me via email at info@cbwit.com. You can register for the event on cbwit.com/build. And there's a discount code for all the listeners. Just type in build at registration, get $10 off.
Okay. Say that one more time.
Yeah, so just type in build, BUILD, during registration on Eventbrite, and you will get $10 off.
See, it wasn't that bad. It's all over. That's going to do it for, actually, we're coming back. I'm goofy today. When we come back on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station, getting you in the holiday spirit with turkey chops, Quentin Love on the Intellectual line coming up on the drive at 5. We're back on the Drive at 5, a cold opening there. We will reschedule Quentin Love, and we're going to end the show early today. So thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer for today. Wanda behind the scenes. Coming up next is Policy Matters with Jerry Brown. Finally, I got to know the name of the host. So we'll see you back next Monday on the Drive at 5. Have a good one, everyone. Have a nice week.